Hey, it's Mike back again. Up the game a little bit today. We got a new microphone, make it look more legit, more professional. So today I just want to I got to talk a bit about mental health. Just keep in mind, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a coach, I'm not certified or licensed in any of that stuff. What I am doing is just giving you my interpretation of some of the podcasts I listen to, some of the books I've been recently reading, and it just seems like a topic that is top of mind with quite a few people, especially with the environment we're in right now with war and food shortages and high interest rates and all that stuff. And I think people are failing to recognize that, you know, even though we know it or we don't realize it, that we're all experiencing some challenges, with our mental health. So just get this out of the way right now. If you like this, please share it with people that you know might benefit from it. Give me a like on here. Subscribe to this channel. I might be turning this into a podcast. We'll see where it goes. For now, I'm sharing it on YouTube. That's what brought you here, and then we'll go from there. So the purpose of this podcast is, this video is to kind of just help you learn a little bit more about yourself. And then what I intend to do is bring people on and interview them and see how they've made a change in their life, see how they've figured out what they were really meant to do and what kind of fulfillment that brought them. But for today, we're going to talk about mental health, and because I think it starts with you before you can, really, how can I say, embrace your surroundings and utilize it to your benefit and be successful with it, right? It starts from the inside. And recently I've been listening to a podcast with Glazer. He just started a podcast. He's an NFL commentator. He's in the mixed martial arts scene as well. And he did an interview with Lewis Howes, who is another podcast content creator. He's an influencer. And they both expressed some of the trauma and unfavorable experiences they had when they were younger. A lot of, feelings of anxiety and depression and that sort of thing. Lewis Howes expressed many years ago that he was abused as a child, sexually abused as a child, and he held that in for many years. And the whole part of this, the whole lesson of it is when they spoke about it and they realized what they were going through and why they were feeling the way they did, everything changed for them. Things got better. Their careers blew up. They felt better emotionally. They had better relationships. So what they encourage through that is talk to people. They surrounded themselves with people that they can talk to about it. Now, for men, especially in my age group, when we were, in the 40s, 50s, 60s and up, when we were younger, there's no way you could talk to a buddy and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling lately. Or, when I was a kid, this happened to me. There's no way. I drove tow truck for a few years. I drove dump trucks for years. I couldn't imagine showing up to work one morning and go, hey, I'm feeling really down today. This is why, and express myself. It was like, hey, you want to go grab some beers after work? This day sucked, or whatever it was, right? So a lot of people mask it with alcohol and drugs and just overworking themselves, being addicted to work and everything else, whatever it might be, spending money. And they mask that pain that they're feeling with all these exterior events and substances, right? And it's simple, not simple. I don't want to say simple, but a conversation can help. So if you see somebody, if you have a friend or a colleague or something, and you see that their behavior is, instead of judging it and talking with other colleagues about, hey, you see how much so-and-so drinks, or you see, what they did at the Christmas party, how about maybe just reaching out and say, hey, is everything okay? Is there, anything I can help you with? They may not say yes the first time, the second time, but they might on the third time. They may turn around and say, actually, yes, something's really been bothering me, and, I can't talk to my family about it, or whatever it might be. A lot of people have open wounds, and, just like when we cut our hand, if we don't stop that bleeding, we'll bleed out. And it's the same thing with the internal wounds we have. We got to address it, become familiar with it, and understand why we're doing the things because of it. And try and manage that somehow. And it may take a conversation. I'm going to be diving into Glazer's book called Unbreakable. It talks about anxiety, depression, and turning that into motivation. And the guy's inspiring. He's an NFL commentator. He's been in the media. He's got all these celebrity friends. He shared a story once where he sat around with Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture, who were like UFC Hall of Famers, after they just finished kicking the snot out of each other in the ring in a training session, and they all broke down crying and expressing, the hardships they were having with relationships, with business, with whatever else. And it's like, how powerful is that? You got these big tough guys that, get their ass kicked for a living, and they're sitting in an octagon or a ring or whatever they were training in crying, right? So you got to find the people to surround yourself with that can help you get through that. Another way of doing it is some people turn to spirituality, okay? I've had this Bible, since I was in grade 7. We got it for confirmation. I never threw it out. And every once in a while, and more recently than not, I'll just crack it open and read a few passages, some scripture, and see where it takes me, see how it makes me feel after that. And I'll be honest, a lot of self-help books, a lot of what's written in them, can be found in here. The same lessons can be found in here. Like, I'm not a devout Christian. I do believe in God. But what I'm saying is some people may need that ultimate connection, that full connection to God in the Bible to help them get through. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with it. Read, listen to some podcasts, discover your spirituality, whatever it might be, whatever it is that you're into. If you want to become one with the earth and nature and spirit and universe or God, whatever it is, use whatever you have to heal those wounds on the inside. You have to be vulnerable. You really do have to become vulnerable and open up to people, and ensure that the people that you're opening up to, you can trust, right? You don't want somebody that's going to turn that and use that against you. So you have to be cautious about that. Sometimes it's not even your family. Maybe you're not ready to talk to your family about it because you're not sure how they're going to take it. And so you talk to a close friend. Lewis expressed when he first wanted to talk to people about the sexual abuse he experienced as a child. He held that in for years. And then when he was ready to talk to his family, he was given a great question to ask his family before he shared the information was, talk to his family and say, is there anything I can say or do that would make you stop loving me? And, the response was no, definitely not. And he was able to share. And the relationship with the family grew. It was so powerful. And his career exploded after that. And then he shared it on his podcast. He said he created a podcast, or he made a podcast with that information on. He held it for 6 months because he was so terrified that it was going to ruin his business and his reputation. Meanwhile, his popularity went through the roof. There was hundreds, even thousands of people that have gone through the same thing that didn't know how to share it. So just think of how powerful it could be if you reached out to a friend, a colleague, a family member and said, hey, is there something bothering you? I'm here to talk to you about it. Just think of how powerful that might be. You may be making a connection that person is looking for. Another guy online that I follow, Frank Grillo, he's an actor. He also does some fighting thing. He's got a fighting thing on Netflix right now. It's a documentary series. And he just shared that his manager and one of his closest friends, they're like family, committed suicide not long ago. And that was about 2 weeks ago. And then yesterday or the day before, I think it was, he shared that his brother committed suicide. And this is a guy that's diving deep into mental health. He uses fighting to keep his mind straight and just clear his mind when he's in the gym, when he's in the ring. And that's something else leading into that too. If you're just feeling crappy and you're down and you're tired, get into a bit of fitness, watch your diet, start with that. Like I said, you can go to books, reading, journaling is another one. At the end of the day, if you got a whole bunch of nonsense stuck in your head, take out a piece of paper or a journal, get yourself even something from the dollar store. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, and just write down your thoughts for the day. Write them down, get them out of your head, get them on paper so they're not manifesting and building in your head. And the next morning you wake up just fired up, angry and pissed off at the world again. It takes some work. It takes being vulnerable, but the results on the other end, they're amazing. And it's so many success stories that I've read about and heard about on these podcasts. It's incredible. And then unfortunately, there's the sad stories. There's the people that don't get help and don't talk to people because they're ashamed or they feel like they're broken, whatever it might be, that they're not going to be heard. So, and I've spoken a lot about men that I've followed in here, different celebrity men or podcasters. But ladies, it's the same thing for you. Reach out to somebody, a friend, colleague, whoever it might be. Just be open. And again, if you see somebody that's struggling, listen, I have friends and I see what they're doing and I see some of their behaviors. And as I'm going through this journey in the last 3 years, I'm learning more about this. I'm learning more about myself. And I can see some of them are struggling. And I've reached out to a couple of them and just say, is everything okay? Whether even through a text message. And if I see the behavior again, I'll send another text message. Hey, you having a good week? Everything okay? It's difficult. It's really difficult. And sometimes they won't come out to you. You gotta go to them. All right, so I just wanted to share that with you. It's just with everything going on these days, talk to people, really talk to people. It's such a lonely time right now. People aren't sure what other people are believing in and what they're thinking and what side of the fence they're on. Who cares? We're talking about human beings. We're human beings. We need emotional and physical connection with people. Okay, not just a screen, not a text message. We need to hear people's voices. We need to talk to people face to face. We need that connection. We thrive off of other people's energy. And if you can be the good energy for somebody, then do it. All right, next one I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about your gifts. Maybe help you find a way to discover your gift. We all have one. We definitely do. And it's special to us, and we might not even know we have it. All right, again, if you like to share it with somebody that you know might benefit from it, I appreciate your feedback. Leave me some comments. And, we're going to get better and better every time. Today was the microphone. I don't know, maybe next time some better lighting or something. All right, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.